He's focused. Wait a minute, is it running?
Yep, it just went.
It's running, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you kindly sit down so we can get started with the damn show? I'm so tired.
Give me the. I'll sit him down.
This needs to be overly dramatic.
Give me the initial words. I'll sit him down.
All right. Then you want to do the. Change this up. Read the whole thing. I changed it up. If you can have your elusive attentions.
Yakety yak, don't talk back, sit down. Let's go.
Except when I'm talking, you can.
Except when you're talking. You can talk back.
Yeah, but I talk back to me, so.
Talk back to me.
No, I talk back to me.
I talk back to you.
Sorry about that. Go.
Sacred's intro checklist. Hear ye, welcome to Sacred Grounds with Dan Brady. Can we have a little hand, please? A little hand. As the current, running with the current, in the current, host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Please support this reading by enjoying the food and drink served here. Let's have a hand for Teddy, our host. Teddy, our host. Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome, but we ask you to respect the mic. Keep and the Bill and the Sam and the Eddie, as well as the Fiona. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put phones on mute, vibrate, mute, or vibrate, and do not distract the speakers or pass in front of them or behind them, or do not fly over their heads either. Also, keep to the time limit, usually 5 minutes, but nowadays 4 is better. We have 2 shows, a 7-ish, the 8:40-ish. And so, by going short on your time, it helps get everyone on the mic. Angels on the head of a pin. Sack Red's longest standing tradition. Who's Sack Red?
I'll get back to you on him.
If you want to be in the loop, going to Chicago. Sorry, but I can't take you. We've an opt-in mail list. See one of the hosts. See all of the hosts. You can see the hosts. They're right in front of you. A Facebook page, and we stream lives thanks to Mr. Natural.
Who was here a while back.
Mr. Natural. Can we have a hand for Mr. Natural?
Thank you.
Feel that for the match. See the URL on the wall. See it there? See it there. There. See it there. You can view in from home. Family or friends can see you live or later on. If you want to hear Harvey and Edna so-and-so's poem again, why you can. Poem again while you can. Want to do a self-critique? Can I see a show of hands? Self-critique? Okay, as I thought. 1, 2, 2 fools in the audience. All right. Pay attention to them. They know what they're doing. We don't. If you really want to. And it is a way to put out the word yours, mine, ours, minutes, eons. An ongoing theme. Never doubt the small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has, said Margaret Mead. The evening's theme is
Far from home.
Far from home. Also, next week's feature will be.
Oh, flip the page up. Let me see it. I don't have my glasses.
Peter.
So I am down legally messed up. Oh, Peter Martai. And company, a great standing act of many decades.
The keynote is
Vincent.
Vincenzo. Our feature is the fabulous heart. I don't. What? And your name is?
Patrice Kahn.
Patrice Kahn.
It was in the thing, but it's not there. It's
not on.
It's down there.
Patrice Kahn. Yeah. I'm the only one who's ignorant here. Sorry.
No. I could have done better.
And who here will give the Queen's wave?
She will give.
There we go. We got a few of them.
Sorry about that. I gotta read it.
A lot of queens in the audience. As to the second show, the last word will be
Abraham. We
have fabulous door prizes, window prizes, attic prizes, basement prizes. They are.
This is historical atlas of world mythology.
Nice.
My thought on this was, you look through the map and you see how all the different nations change shapes, and you say to yourself, every time a blot of ink changed, bloodshed. What a history, right? What a history.
Okay.
There's even more of this, but this goes inside the brain. Argonauts. To be Argonauts. Sorry about that. Couldn't resist. Part 2, myths. So I can't read it. People know. I'd rather know things that no one knows and at least I know what I know.
EBS.
And then the primo prizes are.
The primo prizes, he says, number one, no. The last word. That, you know, if that camera was over there, you would have liked it. Anyway, an eye for people. I don't know.
It's essays.
Okay, James Baldwin. So there you go. Another country.
Great
Just
stuff.
like him. I
That's
wish I
great
was in
stuff.
another country. Or this country.
Yeah.
Go with the second choice on that. Hopi. Very good. Amazing. Go to those places, and then you sleep in certain places.
Be advised, although we record the evening, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask permission. We will assume you've done so. We conclude by 9:50. This is Teddy's deadline when we take to the street.
To the streets.
To the street.
You can't take it to the street where you can't take it to. Give him a round of applause. I had him read the whole absolute things and any changes in it. And I know that went along with that helped restore order in the court.
All right, Vincent,
All
the
right.
keynote.
Oh, the
And-
keynote. Give him a round of applause, Mr. Vincent. I mean, not Mr. Vincent. Vincent, the keynote. Thank you so much. I can't steal from you.
Okay.
And also,
Am I
Britt
framed?
Peter is on deck.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I like that system. I didn't do that.
You're welcome. Am I framed?
It's good. It's good.
You're perfectly framed.
Cool. Tonight's theme is Far From Home. This is a poem I found by Warsan Shire, a British Somali poet. This is called Home. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbor's running faster than you, the boy you went to school with who kissed you dizzy behind the old tin factory is holding a gun bigger than his body. You only leave home when home won't let you stay. No one would leave home unless home chased you, fire under feet, hot blood in your belly. It's not something you ever thought about doing, and so when you did, you carried the anthem under your breath. Waiting until the airport toilet to tear up the passport and swallow each mouthful of paper, making it clear that you would not be going back. You have to understand, no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. Who would choose to spend days and nights in the stomach of a truck unless the miles traveled meant something more than journey? No one would choose to crawl under fences, be beaten until your shadow leaves you, raped, then drowned, forced to the bottom of the boat because you are darker, be sold, starved, shot at the border like a sick animal, be pitied, lose your name, lose your family, make a refugee camp a home for a year or 2 or 10, stripped and searched, find prison everywhere, and if you survive and if you are greeted on the other side with go home blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers, sucking our country dry of milk, dark, with their hands out, smell strange, savage, look what they've done to their own countries, what will they do to ours? The dirty looks in the streets, softer than a limb torn off, the indignity of everyday life, more tender than 14 men who look like your father between your legs, insults easier to swallow than rubble, than your child's body in pieces. For now, forget about pride. Your survival is more important. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of the gun, and no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home tells you to leave what you could not behind, even if it was human. No one leaves home until home is a damp voice in your ear saying, leave, run now, I don't know what I've become. Thank you.
Wow. Who's
All right, Britt, you are up, and Owen, you're on deck.
So tell us, give us the name, because
Give us the name of the
Just tell,
person.
yeah.
I did, I announced it. It's
Oh.
called Home, and it's written by Warsan Shire, British Somali poet.
Okay, I didn't remember that.
Remember
It was
that.
so, it was cool, loved it.
Okay, two poems about the 50s. Far from Home. I don't know whose idea it was to expand the standard curriculum, but there we were in an ordinary classroom under a portrait of George Washington, watching the clock as usual, listening unattentatively to a fresh introduction to the simple task of writing. Jim Gray, the young instructor, wanted us to read Tom Wolfe's book of a slightly different title, You Can't Go Home Again, to savor the multiplicity of flavors in everyday existence. Take a second look at apples on the kitchen table and the aromas emanating from the old iron stove. Bob and I were confused by the ample verbiage, liking better the raw, outrageous humor of Henry Miller, listening to Rex Roth and Alan Watts on the radio, and devouring two recent books, Trumpet Blasts for On the Road and How, Kerouac and Ginsberg, Ailey Lama, boxcars and rusty locomotives, sunflowers and the simple wow. And even that a long time ago, before any serious pilgrimage or settlement. Worlds away from here, away from this now, far from home. Warren Street Commotion. Yes, I can rewrite that first poem. The girl in the doorway, the neighbor climbing a telephone pole for a better view, while sirens went off announcing a nearby fire. I can rewrite that first poem, coax the characters into form, but not to the point of completion. Something other than hot yearning dwells in memory. What stays, what sticks, is light affection that curls the corners of my mouth, even for that comic fool up a pole.
There you go, sorry, I hit the button by
All right. Owen, you're up, and Maximilian, you are on deck.
Now, wait a minute. You got four?
Number 3 is on deck.
Oh.
Before I go on, I have checkbooks for sale.
Can you come over this way? This is
See, these are my new
There we go.
new poems. Memoir, a sonnet. Of each passing glance from a woman turned girl upon the library steps, cool and calm in the hate, to the sand and surf on a hot day in moody September, I began to count the hours to which I scamper and woo, every second of windless heat and frolic, of which the simple second after second of rhyme and reason, of free verse and summer solstice, cringing from a brisk autumn refrain. Heat. Macadam that melts in my sight as the sun sets high on hollow 8th Street, rushing by the people I meet on the way to Shangri-La. A sort of cool parade. Rah, rah, rock and roll. The soul, the warp and woof of coal and abandon, tasteful as a grove of trees on peaceful Page Street. Sometimes I meet a friend, a fellow poet and passers-by, who looks straight ahead head like a soldier of soul, the roll and pitch of yearning and discerning. Today, the heat alights on the pavement as each ray of sun melts itself into the hot, hot ground. Another day of heat and heat chills clamps on my heart and brain in the darkened light of the library. Park. Golden Gate Park at the edge of Haight Street, perpendicular to Standing Street another tomorrows. Oh yes, tomorrow will come, but where will I be? Off and beyond, going to another world, had me but words in a wordless world, words in a world that can kill me, sharp like the teeth of a piranha fish biting. I am like a placid cow in the midst of the Amazon. Words of their world that is razor sharp and biting, tearing me down. On memory, the day wears on and I, the forgetful one, sitting. My memory is and I remember back, I should have been back by slack and alas alack. I remember not in time, the chimes I bought. Flying and forgetting the time of day, I hurry out. This poem should rhyme, but there is no reason. This is the summertime season, the sun shines over the library and the park, where I sit puzzled and perplexed over the usual records and romance and groping. Next time I take no chance. On tide sung outcry. Rhymes and verse of humanity and its foibles. Life the bliss of the quotidian. I read my own book. Panis Angelicus, Hart Crane gave me a lift. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Maximilian is up.
Max?
On deck is Sammy. I can't read this.
Is someone named Sammy find early on? Or in the S?
In the fourth spot.
Fourth slot? Someone was asking about that. Oh.
Yeah, what?
I couldn't read your name.
I couldn't read your handwriting.
Munso Bagari.
The green,
Tiberius shall hear of this.
the green Presidio. A few months ago, the Presidio has still applied Roundup next to the camping grounds and an overlook of the beach, growing blackberries on top of Roundup treated ground. Kids are picking up. What is happening today in Presidio? I had already 2-3 last 4 years incidents about Roundup with the Presidio. So I'm inviting you all to collaborate in this to make the Presidio a green Presidio, to make it 100% organic.
Thank you.
All right.
To make all the restaurants we have there, 3 or 4 or 5, 100% organic. There's one already, Transit Center, they're already 80% now. But they're waiting for it, 20% more. There's a Starbucks there, out of it, or organic.
All right.
The park place that I have there on Sundays and Thursdays, they have barbecue happening with 50 trucks at least selling products, food. Had to be organic, if not you don't come to the Presidio. Yeah? So we will reorganize the Presidio, a new organic center, a new farming technique. We will build up a museum in Fort Scott, 4, 5, 6 barracks, all with organic techniques. to go healthy for everybody, we are all everything is corrupt. There is GMO and there's Roundup all over in our food. You don't see it, folks? So eat only organic. So we have to do something. The procedure organic. This will be a step forward what we have to do in our generation. Thank you.
Jimmy, who's after Jimmy? I'm sorry.
Stephanie is on deck.
Oh, Stephanie's on deck. Thank you. Thank you.
Where's the deck?
You are.
That's right. It's an expression.
No, I know the chair.
To baseball. I keep thinking it's Navy. Never mind. This is 3 little vignettes from a book I'm trying to assemble called Pieces of Taxi. And they're all little shorts from driving a cab. Number 1 is briefcase. Woman gets in back, Oriental, Chinese probably, slender, pretty, nice biz suit, briefcase. She fires the briefcase across the seat into the door behind me ahead of herself as she slides in. Wow, where to? The Richmond, she sighs. Have a nice day, I ask, taking off. It was okay. So what did you learn today? I'm always asking questions of the day, political usually, something philosophical you might say, anything to stir the pot. I can't drive all night to various nowheres without some connection to something. I already feel that we're the most alienated society of all time, except this room, of course. But I think that what we need now is a giant national Woodstock the size of Iowa.
Yeah.
She looked at me in the mirror and she said, I learned that there is no such thing as constructive criticism. Free ride. Next one is called 3 Suits. 3 business types hop in at the Regency, 2 men, 1 woman, all in wool business suits, headed for a restaurant in North Beach for dinner. They ride in silence. I'm thinking like this is going to be a hard little ride. I sort through my repertoire of conversation starters, brain files marked politics, economics, religion, or sports, all the disqualifying things at Thanksgiving dinner. I disqualify sex since the woman is outnumbered, and I only bring up sex when I'm outnumbered. Or it's even, of course. Which doesn't happen very often. That doesn't mean the rules are the same. I get to risk, they get to decide. Equal but different. Funny how life emulates computer science. Ontogeny recapitulating phylogeny, I guess. It's all algorithms. Man is like a rhythm of electrons, and women, the switch.
Yeah.
Since they're business people, I go ahead and ask, hey, how's biz? Not bad, answers the man from the right, rear. So I go, what do you guys think about the bailout? Messy, they're lost, the 2 men go. It's gonna be a long time coming, he trails off. Trying to figure out what that meant, I toss out a feeler. Might be the end of capitalism, I go, a bit cocky, but at the same time, tentative. Well, goes one, and goes the other. You know, I continue communism. Our other economic religion is already blown away, right? Since they tore down the wall back in '89. Now it's us, I think us. Won't happen tomorrow, I suppose, but the unbridled laissez-faire robber baron stuff is probably over, don't you think?
Yeah.
I'm driving through Chinatown as I say this. Right rear goes, yeah, you might be right. It's a huge waste, said the middle guy. But then the middle guy goes, it's the only way to go, not referring to nothing. We need to keep free enterprise, I answer. I mean, people need to start something they like, something that they can depend on, maybe a life expectancy less than the immortality of a corporation, but still something they could all have one function only as a family, maybe not to buy other companies. I don't know. Into the big C's I go, chattering a bit. No commies, no robber barons, neither one. Then the lady speaks as if from a self-imposed dormancy. She sounds a little tired. The next economic system, she says, will be chocolate. The artiste. She slipped in the back right in no hurry. Somehow we both managed to recognize and say we were writers. It's clairvoyance. So I asked her the stupid question I always get, but she said she didn't want to get published. What's up with that, I asked. She loved the process of writing, she said. The choices, the constant cuts with the bright surprises, but that, she said, wasn't it as much as, A, I don't want to be the court jester and the joker who makes them laugh and forget the truth. And B, I don't want to be the messenger either, who will tell them the truth, because they'll kill me. In art, things only go smoothly when you're not getting anything done. When you truly create, all hell breaks loose. Sister, you're an artist. You just earned a free ride. At her destination, she slides out of the taxi, and with one foot on the street, she turns to smile at me. An artist, she says, never gives them what they want.
Ha-cha.
Stephanie is up, and David is on deck.
Move around, please. Nice respect. The skull work that goes way back to whenever.
I knew all those guys.
You know all of them. And
I
then
did
some.
too. Yeah, we go back far, Yasmin.
Yep.
California beveled in genuflection toward the setting sun from Sierra Crest, atop tectonic plate, down to the cracked slip faults, and on out to water's edge to the original subduction zone out by the Farallones. From Reno to Sacramento, a great slope downward. One knows one is in California, land of the First Nations people, Wintus and Wapos, Miwoks and Pomo, Ohlonies and people of Tule Lake, of Clear Lake, of Lake Tahoe, and of Medicine Lake. Tribes of the Great Central Valley, the Central Coast, and the South, Pechangas and Yokuts, tribes that span the borders. These people of ancient times for millennia lived here and learned how to survive droughts, fires, and earthquakes, struggle now to revive their cultural lifeways for the land here on the slope that is California, and the desert lands to the east and south, how to live on a freshwater marsh, how to live on a bayshore marsh, on the vast valley floor, and way up in the hot days and cold nights of the mountains, which grasses make the best baskets, which stones are good for grinding grain, and which are good for cooking with, what time of year the salmon run, and when is best for venison, ducks, and sturgeon, how to flake obsidian into blades, and sinew to make the best bow. This is the knowledge passed down through the generations by word of mouth. Only a few elders remain with such knowledge, desperate to pass it on to the younger tribal people. The forgotten burial sites are being rediscovered, and the oldest of these are shell heaps from 5,000 years ago at water's edge, covered over and paved over and built on with railroad tracks and buildings. These ancient clues to a culture of long ago, nearly wiped out by foreign diseases and genocide, but still a few shell mounds, sacred burial and ceremonial places remain, and so do some native people descended from the survivors of genocide and diseases and discrimination. They alone carry the ancient knowledge of the culture, how to build on this terrain through dry and wet weather, through earthquakes and fires, how to manage the land just enough to survive. May they succeed in passing on their knowledge, for it may be our only hope, the hope of humanity. Here's a short one about a boy on my lunch line. That's called This Boy. This boy, 8 years old, on my lunch line at school, loves to act weird and make his buddy laugh and make me laugh. His front teeth have fallen out. New big adult teeth have slightly emerged. He smiles and dances and gyrates, and he puts his lunch number in the POS machine once, twice, 3 times, with one digit sticking forward in his contorted hand. There are no lengths to which he will go to make us laugh.
it makes him happy. And because it makes this boy happy to entertain us, it makes me happy. Someday, somebody will train him to stand up straight and behave, to trim his fingernails and fold his wash, to not disrupt the line or disturb the peace, but it won't be me.
David is up, and Vincent, you're on deck.
Vincent's here.
There's a couple of seats available over here if anybody wants to.
David?
Yes.
Happy?
Yeah.
Far from home, you wandered into sacred grounds on a Wednesday. Found that home was everywhere, anywhere.
Thank you.
So Nance Wogan, who lived at Strawberry Creek where I lived, died about 8 or 9 days ago. And she was a wonderful poet. Anyhow, I wrote an obit for her, which is in our little in-house magazine. I just meant to bring it, but I forgot. Maybe I'll bring it. How's that?
Much better, David.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Leave it to me.
Okay, so I'll bring her obit next. I did it in her own words, so I took one of her own poems and used that as the lead for the obit. Then I wrote this. Cloaked in verbs. I wrote a short obit. A poem was the gist of it, for if we be interred, best it's done in our own words. So, and then next one is a 4-word poem. Homely, homily, anomaly, anemone.
Homunculus?
So what?
That's something.
Go ahead, jump right in.
Homunculus? What is it?
Homunculus.
Homunculus, thank you. I knew, but octo is a different
Only
kind of-
homily,
I gotta go
homunculus.
back a few hundred million.
That's your poem.
Very vicious.
That one's
What?
yours. That one's your poem. You took a different direction.
Sorry. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I gotta stop this, or else you're gonna kill me.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm a middle distance writer. I'm not a sprinter or a marathon.
You're on.
I'm vaguely in the rough, like fog, or level, like a butte. I've been here for a while, perhaps like the old man of the mountains in New Hampshire. My nose has fallen. I've lost a slab or two. Golem, rock trolls, avalanche actors, these are my forebears. I ken their cairns. I stack their imbalance and shuffle their slights. Their strata is pro rata. Bryce is twice as nice. I'm in the pink where hoodoos blink. I will arch over you when the wind blows and the creek flows. I'm in the middle distance, slightly out of focus, stealing moisture from the ragtag clouds, racked and torn after the storm. I leave you to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
Easy. But I want a hand in the air, Dan, when I have 10 seconds left. Sit
David, you did this well. We appreciate everything. Another round of applause because he has to hear me talking right now.
Vincent, you're up, and Tommy, you're on deck.
Which Tommy?
Tommy. There's only one Tommy
There's
on the
only
list.
one
So
Tommy.
there's the one and only Tommy.
Well, that's right. We don't have.
Hey everybody, I'm back.
Hey!
All right.
Thank you, Vincent.
And I don't have any more uplifting poems, just sad ones, sorry. So I'm going to read one from somebody else, and I'm going to read one of my own. You know, this city is full of depression. We see it around, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it.
Come on.
And death is around us a lot. So this is a poem called Never Far From Home, and it's written by poet Robert Longley. The journey is a challenge to go where few would go to find the strength inside us that someday let us grow. We do the work and try our best, though often not enough. Sometimes there are no answers when the road ahead is rough. What might bring us closer can sometimes drive apart and leave us just with memories we keep within our heart. And so things end unfinished, but no matter where I roam, there will always be a part of me that's never far from home. And that's an inspirational poem. It was written by a man who left one night and passed away. His life was cut short, but he lived on through organ donation.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. This is called Home and Dry. This is mine. Home and dry. The stale morning coffee sat on the kitchen table, its bitter taste gathering in seconds, thickening in forgotten minutes. The digitized, reliable pot had done its job in drips and drips. But by late afternoon, the family gene, the blues, kept him bedside. Plates with runny egg yolk remnants, days old, his sister had made during a concerned visit. She suffers too. It worsens as you age, they say, yet he refuses the medications. Like the taste of the cough syrup at age 8, he's still willfully stubborn. The mania remains overly attractive to let go of, so he'll impatiently wait. Another week for it to pass, the lethargy, the pain in his joints. He won't answer calls or texts, the TV screen lit, the volume muted. His thoughts move at breakneck speed, his neurotransmitters overloaded, short-circuiting him numb. He turns over away from the crack of light, kissing at both curtains. He resents its existence. He begs nature for midnight. In darkness, the quiet, the oncoming doom shortens, and in the middle of it, he promises that it will be different tomorrow. The same quiet proclamation he made days and nights before. There's no guarantee he won't break it as he turns over again and again, reshaping the forms of his pillows, kicking off the covers, listening for the stillness in the ceiling fan as the cool air flow drifts down upon him and the sweat on the back of his knees evaporates. Thank you.
Yeah! Vincent! Generous! Vincent, a generous individual with note in there.
So Tommy's up and Dan, you're on deck.
Oh, I'm on deck. But Tommy, give him a round of applause for God's sake for talking to you Irish accent. Touch me, Tommy. Tommy!
Twinkle, twinkle, little trump, how you sit there on your rump,
Oh, nice.
tweeting all the day and night.
Huh?
All you want to do is fight. Twinkle, twinkle, little trump, I think your mind's a little bump. Twinkle, twinkle, you don't shine, inciting hatred all the time. And your base they aim to kill as you keep on tweeting still. Twinkle, twinkle, little Trump, I'm sure your mind's a big old dump.
Yeah! Well done. Music.
Somewhere in there, yeah, I know. I couldn't quite remember.
It's all right.
From my childhood. To the theme, and I take it somewhere that I think probably no one else will take it.
Thank you.
I'm a homo far from home. I pledge allegiance to no nation. Salute no flag. Pray to no God. Reject heteronormative and gender binary. I won't assimilate or deny my rage to make you more comfortable. I'm a homo far from home. I was born to rebel, not marry. Question, not consume. Spit on authority. Walk the earth without a home. Nowhere is safe. History has taught me the tide turns without warning. The pendulum never rests. What goes around comes back before you know it. There is no peace or justice for a homo far from home, a home I was never allowed to have. And finally, I don't know how many of you read the news, but there's been a lot of horrible murders in the last few months. And this is one of the more recent ones. How many, sorry, sorry. Back. Burned. She was found burned in her car. Burned beyond recognition in Florida, 30 miles from home. Sleeping in her car, hoping to get to Atlanta where she thought she'd be safe. Terrified of threats on Facebook, harassed because of the way she dressed, who she was. The 18th trans woman murdered this year. 17 of them black, like her. Only 23 when she was found in her car, body burnt beyond recognition, trying to get to Atlanta where she thought she'd be safe.
A wonder for my ears. Because if I don't hear me, then no one does. Isn't that right? Am I right? If you don't hear you, then no one else can hear you. How can you do that? Speak without me.
Pretty good.
Anyway, so this man walks into a bar. No. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt me. I need like 1.00 glasses because I can't put in my regular reading.
This is more than 1.0.
Is that 1.00?
That's pretty strong.
Okay, all right. Let me just see now. Thank you, Marcia.
Sure, that's all you need.
Well, that's a whole shirtload list of other things, isn't it?
Just careful with the harp.
Yeah.
Oh, like I said.
See, that was well timed. You were on guard. I didn't embarrass myself any further, but I'm about to. So here we go. So this is an old poem. Shows that politics doesn't change. Harry Bonzel, just that name is in here. People may. Yeah, all right, just. Did you know that the glory us B of A, their gold initials shine on solid state backing, a decor more constant than a Harry Bonzel drone, and tellers that just don't. Conducted a study using 100,000, quote, clearly distinguishable, eminently identifiable, paper clips, unquote. They found that maybe some 25,000 were just thrown away, apparently without justification that was tangibly identifiable by the traces. Tens of thousands were used for ear cleaners. 10,000s were used for fingernails, but, quote, only maybe 15,000 were used as paper clips, and the remaining, some 30,000s, were twisted, bent, and or mutilated quite beyond their structural capacity to perform the functions for which they were intentionally designed during phone calls or conversations on the job, period, unquote. American history and practical land. Studying hard over there. A or B?
A.
A prime.
Oh, okay. Okay. There we go. Thank you. All right, so connections. Far from home. Wailing. It comes in sea swells, graceful and slow. It likes to turn and roll gently as it moves through the water in migrations that circulate with the oceans, curving with the earth. Their swims cover thousands of miles that even the youngest make just after they're hardly born. Their broad mouths smile with the sea, and their eyes are quiet, pensive, and slow. They echo whistling queries across the broad gray ocean floors and in turn question the answers in casual conversation. They travel with the wind of the ocean's current and tide, touched by the moon on their backs, water silver radiations of their spines. These creatures are touched more by the moon than we, and their hearts are big enough to sleep in. I'm going to do a couple of haiku, and I got to go down because I'm not paying attention to anything around here. This is one of my famous quotes. Oh, I thought it was you. I felt the earth go like this. I felt like the wind. And it's not even Mariah. Okay, back to the, what was that?
Yeah,
haiku.
haiku.
All right, okay. Well, first is the quote. The closer you get to the truth, the more you speak about the truth, the more you repeat yourself. You know? See what I'm saying? The more you speak the truth, the more you gotta say. Okay, they still don't have it. How about world peace? You could do that, you know, it's technically possible, you know. Anyway, haiku, garden. I'll do this one twice because it's really cool. In the cleft of clover, silver dewdrop gleams. All the suns circle inside. See what I'm saying? Then there's from my childhood, which was healthy mostly. That one part was a good 3-5 years. Then a little hell breaks loose. Okay. Water strider. A kick ripples the moon. Water strider. A kick ripples the moon. Thank you.
Now someone rescue that, please, because, you know, I don't know what damage I'm going to get.
All right, hi everybody.
Hello. Come on, a round of applause. Lena. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let them get organized for a second.
Yeah, I'm gonna let them get organized. In the meantime, I can promo my chapbook that I have here that you should buy because it's very good.
Of course.
All right.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
Okay.
you know, like there's. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, everybody regroup.
So
Dash into place.
this is a poem that I wrote this summer. I think it's called "Anxiety Meds Won't Make Pretty Girls Talk to Me."
Really?
Let me paint a picture for you. It's a Monday afternoon and I'm feeling dejected again because I got rejected again. Turns out he wants to be friends because he isn't attracted to me romantically. I leave him on red. I don't want to be friends with someone I am attracted to, and maybe I overreacted too, but it's a tale as old as time. It fits neatly into this rhyme scheme because that's how cookie cutter it is to me. The few times I don't get ghosted, I'm roasted like this, and worst of all, I take it personal because if you smell shit all day, maybe you should check your shoes. And it's not an excuse, but I try to be relatable rather than unobtainable, but I guess I'm just not dateable because they won't date a bull in a china shop. But I love your grandma's antiques and I don't intend to stop. I got a knack for knickknacks, I get way too attached. I refuse to hold back and my refuse is profuse. It spews from me like I got too much honesty. I'm the king of oversharing. I'm overbearing till it's over and I'm tearing my hair out. I know what I'm about. You don't need to tell me, and I know I'm not pretty enough to overcome this shit stain of a personality, and I know I should stop wallowing in self-pity, because I don't think people find that cute. But I got a cute awareness of my own flaws, and in my eyes they're magnified. They're the probable cause of my own loneliness, and I can't get away from this. Maybe I should stop being so desperate, because I know y'all can smell that shit. So what if they all reject me? That doesn't mean I shouldn't respect me. Someday I'm gonna find someone who's gonna love me. The problem is in the finding. It's tiring. I feel like all dating does is facilitate heartbreak, and I won't find my soulmate from a Tinder date. Every right swipe is a gamble. Every lost night is an example of the probable truth that I'll be alone forever. I'll own 6 cats and knit sweaters from their shed fur. I'll be a spinster. Unless, of course, I find a way to break this cycle of helpless denial, because at the end of the day, I just want love that blooms from just being friends rather than ending up that way. I want a friendship that turns into a relationship rather than something that disappears right away. I want to be loved. I want to love me. I want to be above all this shit but still write angsty poetry. I want to be happy. And maybe that's being happy alone. Maybe that's not obsessively checking my phone to see if they've texted me, not letting my anxiety get the best of me, because the best me is grounded, is terrestrial. With all of me feeling this atmosphere, and at most, fear remains firmly in the back of my mind, the remains of a time in my life when people who won't even appreciate me mattered to me. Someday you won't need to validate me or hell even date me to make me feel worthy of happiness. And I know this may sound like common sense, but my senses get defensive when I feel defenseless, and the senses never ceases. It increases till I'm weakened, till I'm screaming at my brain to just shut up. I've had enough. And if I could turn it off, if I could make it go quiet, I think I'd realize that what's real lies in what I already have. It isn't that bad. My life is far from atrocious. And maybe someday I'll stop getting ghosted. Thank you. Jasmine, you're up. Yeah.
Jasmine, us up, and who's on deck?
I don't have the clip.
Oh, sorry, I got that. But she has to watch.
After that is our feature.
Oh, after feature's coming up, so
Yeah, you're up.
I'll be taking care of the introductions and organizing and the process.
Just a minute. After Yasmin speaks, if anybody hasn't signed up, would you please sign up after Yasmin?
Can you sign a watch?
Put a bunch of them.
You have the pen.
I don't have glasses.
Okay, it's hard to read from a novel, but you just pick out 2 or 3 pages and that's it. In India, we have so many festivals. One of them is called Santrang, which is a festival of kites. And the whole sky is just lit up with thousands of kites. And people actually die because they're on top of trains and everywhere trying to pick up these kites when they are cut right. They fight with the kites in the sky. So it's a wonderful, wonderful festival. But the sky was decorated with kites like batik designs smeared over fabric. All over the city of Bombay, the contestants climbed on rooftops, train tops, terraces, lampposts, wherever they could gain an inch of advantage in catching the wind. People on their way to work cursed the little boys immersed in the sport for causing a traffic jam. Radio stations warned of the imminent dangers of flying kites on railroad stations. Few heeded the warnings. It was a time for chases. The objective was to entangle the other kite. In the sky, cut it loose and run after the one dipping down slowly to the ground. Brother stood on the stool in the attic, his head pushed through an opening in the size of the shoulders. There was room for only one. It I was in charge of the reel wrapped with thread. If brother pulled the kite, I was to spin the reel clockwise to wrap the thread. Otherwise, I was to hold the reel loosely between my thumb and finger to allow the thread to unwind. I didn't like the idea that I could not see outside. Brother shouted for the orders. Faster, Slowpoke, wrap faster. Tell me what's happening first, I begged. Oh, fat lot of time, I have to do that. Unwind, not now. Now go ahead. When is it my turn? Are you crazy? This is a man's sport. You're not a man.
Oh.
At least I'll grow into one. See what you made me do? He was furious. That idiot almost cut my kite. Mother kept Kareem busy on errands. I reminded him about his promise. The next day was the last day of Santran, and I was tired of holding the reel for my brother. Mother would not budge. She said Kareem was no exception from household chores. And besides, the other servants were overworked. Kareem had taken enough time off with me. That night, I waited till the kerosene lights were extinguished in the servants' quarters. I took the wrought iron spiral staircase outside grandmother's room. She awoke as I entered. In semi-sleep, she grumbled. Running away from your mother again, are you? Take me with you. I promised I'd come back for her if she didn't tell anybody. She put tobacco in my palm. I'll need this when I get out. Keep it in a safe place for me, will you? The second room on the left was his. I knew that. He had told me about his annoyance of being right beside Abdul. The door was unlocked. I walked in boldly and touched the body on the floor. It was too dark to see his face, but his voice was unmistakable. He sat up with a start, hitting me in the face as he struck out. Realizing it was me he had struck, he sat beside me, holding my face between the palms of his hand. If they see you here, his thoughts were unconnected. Did I hurt you? How could I know? I'd be made into mincemeat by your father. You promised to fly a kite with me, remember? He didn't seem to remember. Before someone sees you, you promised. I promised tomorrow. You promised before. This time, surely. No, now. It's the middle of the night. No one can see us. Just sharpen the thread for me, will you? I have nothing here. I do. I removed the reel tucked under my skirt. Allah, he exclaimed aloud. Ya Allah. He lit a small candle and asked me to sit in the corner. Folding the jute gunny bag on which he slept, he spread the newspaper over the ground on which he placed an empty glass. He shook his head in disbelief. Can't believe I'm doing this, he kept mumbling to himself. Tell me what you're doing. Be still and pay attention. He placed a towel over the glass and hid it with a steel pot. The noise of shattering glass was muted by the cloth. Kareem began to grind the glass into powder. He spoke softly as he worked. In any sport, any competition, you have to cheat. The others use regular thread to hoist their kites. We will use glass in our thread to cut their kites. He was clearly excited by his task. I drew closer to him as he handed me the towel and summoned me to fetch a clay pot at the far end of the room. He poured water into the flour and made a dough into which he mixed the powdered glass. We forgot about the time, or about mother, as we stretched the thread from one corner of the room to the other. Kareem held my hand firmly around the balls of the dough, which he placed over the string of the polish with glass. At regular intervals, he treated the thread with his bare fingers, measuring his strength as it penetrated his skin. There we are, he said finally. My little mongoose, we're ready for the kill. Kareem, I said, will we win tomorrow? Without a doubt. How can you be so sure? Because I am the son of a Pathan. I don't know if you know what a Pathan is. Afghanistan. And a Pathan never loses. Just because you didn't lose to the British, I recalled his story at the mosque. Just because we never lose. He wrapped the reel, handed it to me, and led me out of his room after he stubbed the candle. Remember to let your kite under the opponent's kite, then pull hard. Aren't you going to be with me? Not if your mother has other plans. But brother won't let me. Tell brother you won't hold his reel if he won't give you a turn. On the final day of Sankrant, I cut 15 kites before I finally lost a kite. Brother was shocked. He had found a replacement. Kareem said he would be... Anyway, I'll stop right there.
We're just gonna set up the feature real quick because we got a harp to do. And
I'm gonna pass this around. If you haven't signed up, please sign up.
Now, we're probably going to be trying to go very close in time, so be aware of that. I mean, if you look at the map, so. All right, so I'm going to use this to introduce her for a moment.
yeah, and then she
Okay.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. And then move that out of the way. Move that closer to you. Thank you.
There we go.
All right.
I'm going to move behind my back. Go for it. Bye, Jingo. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him first, and then I'm gonna get her.
Oh, you're not kidding. Want me to move?
No, you're fine.
While I uncall the proverbial wire, I will begin my preclusions and amendments to the various assumptions you're probably making at this very time. In other words, I don't know what I'm talking about yet.
Talking to the mic, Dan.
I know, but this is spaghetti and I can't.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it
stand
was
off.
fine the way it was.
All right, well, all right.
Get it in there. There you go.
All right.
Hello, thank you very much.
Mike.
Mike. I apologize for my previous fumbling. It was all part of the act. They pay me by the hour.
Respect the mic.
I should have started singing, but they don't listen to that either. All right. Patrice Hahn. Let me say her name before your eyes and ears. Then, as I say it again, think about your heart. Patrice Hahn. Patrice Hahn. This is our feature of the evening. This person, okay, unabashedly brag. Is that okay? Okay, she said it was all right. So, well, that one time with the lampshade, but I'm sorry. She takes her music, and this is fine, beautiful, wonderful music. You will say, oh, angelic. I mean, she can do everything through this. This is another of her voices. She has several voices. She's a poet, writer, reader, performer, singer, songwriter, musician, and this is probably not the only instrument you play, I'm sure. Okay, so a very talented individual, and I'm not going to say anymore because why should I do that when we have her here? Beautiful round of applause. Oh, wait, one second, sorry. I was leading to a point. She takes this art of hers into hospitals and uses it as part of the healing process in places where you hear the music and it's like, hey, well, that's not bad. It's really good. She brings the arts to people and it's a healing aspect of what she does. And that to me is like, someone using their art in a way that is just amazing. Anyway, I'm going to give her the mic now. Give her a round of applause that I've gone on too long.
Okay.
I don't know if they do that, just so in case it, something.
It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful design I've ever seen.
Well, I'm gonna go sit down.
Thank you.
Patrice, you are
Thank you.
framed and you are ready to go.
They're fighting again. They're bullets and flames. They're cries and bright steel. While we stand and pray, our fluttering rags of leaves dance a plea. In the late summer morning, it's light. They're fighting again. Time and again, a banner unfurled, a man with a dream, too big to contain, and somehow the world returns to this theme. Let one man in God's name say the word, start them fighting again. The young and the old all do as they're told. They do as they're told. it's always the same. Oh, when will they learn the cottonwood stand? Bear witness again, our leaves dance and yearn for peace in the land. Let them be free from pain, we pray. No more, no more, no more again. With a feeling my mouth is not close enough.
Well, you know, there's mechanical solutions to this particular problem. Okay, try now, dear.
Well, the thing is, I'm
There you
sort
go.
of close.
Even better.
Okay. And I keep looking away.
Yes.
What can I do? I have to look at my strings.
I know. It's a balance.
It's a balance. Thank you for your listening. I'm honored to be with you again. No more again. A lot of the people that I work with right now are dying. Do you know what? We all are. But some people get told what their pull date is. And then they have to sort of change their life focus a little bit. Some of the people that I work with are children. And that seems harder and unfair, and yet many of them are the most extraordinary teachers. Many of them can't speak, but they can be in really powerful ways, and I'm so blessed to be with them. But it's been making me think about my own life. Life is short, so short. A blink, a song. Who can count our breaths? We sing our gone. We are tossed. We spin bright coins of chance. Who knows how long we may dance? Oh, how satisfied, oh happy one, who shall embrace the rivers run, run. All my secret plans time won't spare. All my deepest dreams let me dare. The simplest act of faith makes my choice. Heaven peeks between the clouds, and hope finds voice. Oh, the flight Hear the grace of living more and more and more. Okay. I'm guessing that many of you can relate. The last year, for some reason, has been a rough one. Quite a number of friends have graduated. And in one, never mind, listen. Dogs around the moon, angels in a tree. When at last I asked, you said you'd forgive me. Such a heavy load, struggling up the hill. Lean into the incline, determined hope. And will I ever see you again? Thought not, thought that you'd gone. All sail my tiny rafts across the pond. I thought you'd gone. Standing in the rain, in the orchard sea. Dear, come browse the buds of the blossom tree. Apples that you grew so you'd have your fill. Proof that you would love me for a long, long time. And still I saw your candle go out. Darkness, thought that you'd gone. All my tears fill up the pond. Thought you'd gone. I have no faith in God. Science over prayer. Yet your spirit bird makes me think you're there. Every day he's there, flies where I will see metaphor or answer to my earnest plea. I sail tiny rafts candles sputtering in the rain. Speak your name aloud. Herons there again and again and again and again. I was in Utah, in Moab, Utah, last October for the very first time. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Could you be a little more specific?
Arches?
Arches.
Special place.
I grew up on the prairies. I know about the sky that goes all the way up to Mars. I know about that. I know about silver light in the fall, but somehow the combination of light and color and perfume was just so profoundly inspiring. Yeah. Do you know the smell of poplar buds? Poplar, Populus deltoides. Okay. Wait. I have two things happening at the same time. Excuse me. This is a weird tuning. Beg your pardon. That one, and not that one, and not that one, and do that one. Okay. Yellow leaves, sapphire sky, where the river runs among the cottonwoods. Asters bloom, long grass sways, and the seed heads burst, float their parachutes, sailing off to the mountains. Snow-capped peaks where ghosts know your name, floating off in the sunshine, golden sunshine. I always think of you as they fall. Yellow leaves. Harvest days, lamplit nights, gather close to sing songs of long ago. Call your name, grief and praise, reach across the veil for a moment, then you sail off to the mountains. Snow-capped peaks where ghosts know your name, floating off in the shadows, moonlit shadows. I will remember you once again when they fall. Yellow Thank you. More strange tuning. Wait a moment, two flats. I wanted to thank one of our co-hosts for her poem, which made me there's a couple of things that have been said so far tonight that made me think of this particular song, which I wanted to share with you. It's new. friend asked me if I knew how to keep the promises I made to myself. And I wondered what sort of world we would live in if we did that, each one of us. To myself. In my glowing amber box, I secret on my highest shelf. I keep my treasures, keep my dreams, keep my promises to myself. Here the sheath of one front claw of my graceful nine-lived acrobat, who teaches mystery, focus, poise. I promise I will remember that if I keep the faith, keep my word, hold it fast. I deserve all the care I would gladly give away. Let me serve my best hope. Keep the faith, keep my word. Nestled in vermilion silk, one whisker of a small gray mouse, the queen of detail, the queen of small. She bids me to mind my inner vow. Bejeweled wing of butterfly, monarch of long-distance flight, she counsels me to persevere. One wing beat moves the world, so might I, if I'd keep the faith, keep my word, hold it fast. I deserve all the care I would gladly give away. Let me serve my best hope. Keep the faith, keep my word. Okay. One little quickie. My invitation to you and my thanks for your listening. Let the outside in. Open up your door. Take a great big breath, that's what breathing's for. And let the outside in. And come the night, can you catch a star? Can you chase a moon? Can you reach that far? Can you reach that far? Can you sing a sky? Can you chant a tree? Can you lilt a bird? Can you hymn? Let the
the outside in. Step into the day. Trust your wildest hopes, throw the locks away, and let the outside in. Let the outside in.
Please round, ladies and gentlemen. I have to go up there. Thank you so much. Oh, I thought, shall I help? No, just grab it. It's yours. Give him a round of applause, lady, one more time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Sorry about that. Beautiful performance. We're going to take a little bit of a break. I will come back and be annoying, and then you'll know that it's time to probably stop doing whatever you're doing and sit down. And I can be annoying in oh so many ways. So let me do that, and you'll do that, and talk to this lovely star individual here and let her know everything that needs to be known. Thank you so much.